Good afternoon. It's wonderful to see you all here again as we gather in Killarney on the second day of IPPN's 25th Annual Principals Conference. The conference theme this year is 25 years of IPPN. Reflect, reimagine, renew. Our President, Deirdre Kelly, spoke to the first of those elements yesterday as she reflected on the growth of IPPN since its foundation. It was a poignant reminder of where we started from and who and what shaped the organisation that IPPN has become. IPPN has been part of my professional life since 2001, when I was appointed, as Anton said, as a teaching principal of a new and developing school in Dublin 15. As a school leader, I participated in the local support group. I availed of sample policies and other resources from the website. I made use of education posts and text a parent, as it was at the time. I attended conference, seminars to enhance my leadership. And I've also participated at county level, on the national executive, and as a member of the board of directors. I have witnessed the extraordinary evolution of IPPN, and I know the profound difference it has made to countless leaders. And I'm extremely proud to speak to you again today as the organisation's CEO. Minister, thank you for being here. We deeply appreciate you taking the time to come to Killarney to address the more than 900 school leaders who are attending this conference. And I know that started in Meath at 10:30 this morning, so thank you. They lead mainstream schools, special schools, mainstream schools with special classes for autism, speech and language, hearing and vision impairment, emotional disturbance, mild, moderate, severe and profound general learning disability, early intervention and specific learning disability. They lead Gael Scoilne agus Scoilne Gaeltachta, as well as hospital schools and island schools. They lead denominational, non-denominational and multi-denominational schools, schools in disadvantaged communities and those with significant numbers of children from disadvantaged backgrounds. And the reason I mention this is to emphasise that the primary education sector is multi-layered and multifaceted. The diversity of these school contexts and the complexity of leading these school communities has implications for the manner in which they are staffed, resourced, and supported infrastructurally. A one-size-fits-all policy approach to primary schools does not work. And nuanced, context-specific solutions are required. My focus today is on the reimagine element of our conference theme. IPPN has always been future-focused and solution-orientated. Yes, we do point out the challenges and the issues that need to be addressed. But IPPN doesn't stop there. From the outset, we have sought to provide evidence to substantiate our positions and to offer solutions to every challenge we identify. This constructive approach has been evident in such IPPN publications as The Value of Leadership in 2001, New Horizons for Smaller Schools and Teaching Principles in 2005, Primary School Governance in 2011, Priorities for Principal Teachers in 2014, Health, Safety and Wellbeing in 2017, the Sustainable Leadership Report in 2022, and a Guide to the Leadership of Teaching and Learning in 2024, to name just a few. Tomorrow, IPPN Chair Catriona O'Reilly will launch our new strategic plan for the period 2026 to 2030. Now, while I won't steal your thunder today, Catriona, suffice to say that the plan will set out a clear vision for how IPPN will support and empower your leadership, and how we will collaborate with your department minister and the other education stakeholders to create an environment where school leaders can actually do the job they signed up to do, and the job that we should want them to do as leaders of learning. So in reimagining leadership, what are we actually talking about? Well, in keeping with our new statement of mission, IPPN is looking to move the discourse on school leadership beyond the limited ambition of it being merely sustainable. We should aspire to the creation of conducive conditions that would allow it to flourish, because we know the positive impact this would have on schools and, most importantly, on children. But the current reality is that primary school leadership is not flourishing. Our daily engagement with school leaders has highlighted the increasing level of challenge, frustration, and disillusionment that you are experiencing. And you identified the root cause of that frustration when 97% of you said the thing that most undermines your effectiveness and the sustainability of your role is the amount of work that you have to do that has absolutely nothing to do with children. Or teaching and learning. And it's not as if we are the only ones saying this. About this time last year, UNESCO published its Global Education Monitoring Report on leadership in education at all levels. The report's particular focus was on the potential for school leadership to be transformative and why that potential is not being realised. It recognises the importance of school leadership as a key lever of education reform and a determinant of improved outcomes for children. Referencing IPPN's research, it also identified the issues that are constraining leadership effectiveness. The report concludes that school leaders are consistently diverted from their focusing on teaching and learning because of the extent of their non-educational administrative workload. It further concludes that school leaders have insufficient time to focus on instructional leadership, which is compromising the quality of teaching and learning. Now, surely that's something that we should be all concerned about, all of us, practitioners and policymakers alike. But in order to ensure that we live up to our claim of being a solution-focused organisation, we haven't just identified the problem. We have also proposed solutions, and we are happy to roll up our sleeves in order to deliver them. In a nutshell, the ask of ourselves as an organisation and our ask of the system is to focus on making primary school leadership doable through a greater focus on core purpose, increased time for leadership, and enhanced governance structures. To facilitate that greater focus on core purpose, IPPN developed a leadership reflection tool aimed at ensuring that leadership is shared both effectively and appropriately. The reflection tool is based on the domains and standards of the Quality Framework for Leadership and Management, which is the closest thing that school leaders have to a job description. It details all of the tasks and actions associated with the achievement of those standards with a view to establishing who is best placed to undertake such actions. But despite helping schools to reflect on leadership practice in the school, particularly when reviewing leadership and management posts, the tool has also highlighted a problem. The tasks and actions required to achieve the standards run to 27 pages in the document. And 22 of those pages are the tasks and actions in only one of the domains. There's no prizes for guessing which one it is. Managing the organisation. Now, 2 points need to be made here. The first is that this disproportionate focus on one domain monopolises leadership workload, and the second is that many of the tasks and actions within managing the organisation domain could and should be done by someone other than the leaders of learning. And that's before we get to the stuff like hot school meals, solar panels, and building projects. With regard to discrete time for school leadership, given the sheer breadth of tasks and actions that derive from the domains and standards of the quality framework, it is clear that not only should the leadership and management of our primary schools be a shared responsibility, but that all of those who have such responsibility must be given sufficient dedicated time away from the classroom to discharge that responsibility. In our recent budget submission, IPPN made a detailed proposal to the department regarding a graduated approach to the allocation of leadership time in all primary schools. Currently, 50% of primary school principals teach 4 out of 5 days in a school week, and 98% of deputy principals in mainstream schools have full-time teaching duties. The lack of discrete leadership time for these school leaders means that the effective implementation of system priorities is wholly compromised. The rollout of the revised primary curriculum has begun, and over the course of the next 6 years, the state will invest significant funds to support the implementation of the curriculum in schools. The lack of discrete leadership time means that the implementation of the curriculum and the state's investment will be less effective than it might be. Accordingly, to ensure that the state gets value for money from its investment, allocating increased leadership time in primary schools must be a priority. Our engagement with the department and our fellow stakeholders seem to indicate an acceptance that action needs to be taken, but it has not yet been translated into meaningful action. We know that there are many competing pressures on budget deliberations, and it is good that school funding and the new DESH Plus scheme was prioritised this year. But an increase in the discrete leadership time allocated to schools would have a profoundly positive impact. The ongoing failure to substantially address this issue constrains the impact of leadership, undermines the effectiveness of our schools, and compromises outcomes for children. With regard to enhanced governance structures, over the last 14 years, IPPN has consistently highlighted its concerns about the appropriateness of the current Board of Management governance structure in our schools. It is unreasonable and unfair to expect volunteers to continue to discharge the increasingly complex and onerous statutory and legislative responsibilities that fall to boards of management. In the absence of appropriate support and direct access to relevant expertise, The lack of capacity of boards to adequately discharge their governance function has been identified as a significant contributory factor to the increased workload of school leaders. Furthermore, standards of oversight and compliance are compromised, which has significant implications for schools, for their patrons, the education system, wider society, not to mention children. So those are the three key priorities. And you might well ask, what progress has been made? Well, two very significant pilot projects are currently underway. I have to commend the department and the education partners for getting behind these critically important projects. We believe they are paving the way for game-changing, new approaches to supporting schools to be all that they could and should be. The first pilot project is the Small Schools Action Research Project, which is exploring how a clustering model can be used to address a number of key challenges the school leaders in these schools have identified and prioritised. There are 6 clusters around the country. And I want to talk today about the Donegal cluster, one of the clusters that IPPN is supporting. The cluster started off in November 2022. And during that first phase, the 4 principals worked together and brought staff and children together with a real emphasis on pedagogy. They created shared learning experiences for the children. They created time for staff across the schools to collaborate and share practice and to reduce the isolation that they had been experiencing. In phase 2, the principals looked at how the administrative load of their role could be addressed. They developed a proposal for an executive officer to work for 4 hours a week per school, which was approved by the department. The introduction of this new role has brought considerable benefits across the cluster, most notably in relieving the principals of that administrative load. Being able to delegate tasks such as procurement, the school book scheme, the hot meal scheme, health and safety audits, summer works and emergency works, means that they have been able to prioritise learning and teaching as well as leadership in their respective schools. The greatest benefit of all lies in the time released back to pedagogy. The principals can now concentrate more fully on classroom teaching, curriculum planning, assessment, and overall school development. The shift has brought renewed energy and focus. There's a stronger culture of professional reflection, improved inclusivity in teaching approaches, and greater progress in school improvement that has not been possible in years. Perhaps most significantly, the role contributed to an increased job satisfaction among the 4 principals, with one specifically referring to a reduced inclination to consider leaving the profession as the workload had become more manageable. There can be no greater testament to the pilot project than this. The Programme for Government 2025 states its intention to introduce a new national small school project for all 1,300 small primary schools to protect these school communities and develop new administrative supports. Given the profound impact of the current pilot projects on small schools, then this programme for government action needs to be progressed urgently. I'd like to sincerely thank Finbar Hurley and Pat Goff, the coordinators of the IPPN clusters, for their vision, their guidance, and for the time and energy that they've given to the project, which have contributed in no small way to its success so far. And I also want to pay tribute to Pairic Joyce from the department who has led that project. Thank you, Pairic. The second pilot is an action research project to trial an administrative executive role in primary schools bigger than those in the small school project and in post-primary schools. The specific aim of the pilot is to support principals by reducing their administrative workload to assist in rebalancing their time towards leading, teaching and learning, and to enhance the overall operation of the school. Each of the schools in the pilot has their own administrator on a contract of 35 hours a week, during which they will undertake a range of administrative and operational duties. This 3-year pilot is in its early stages, with the administrators only being appointed last month. We really do look forward to hearing about the impact this pilot is having, and we wish everyone involved the very best in identifying and progressing ways to optimise this invaluable resource to the benefit of their school communities. I wish to acknowledge and welcome your proactive support for these projects, Minister, and that of your officials. The report's recommendations on learning that emanate from them, they will be crucial if we are to have the impact that we know schools and school leaders and their boards so badly need. In addition to the admin executive role, IPPN has also proposed the piloting of clustered access to shared services to provide financial, HR, legal, capital project expertise, and we have lobbied for the Primary Education Forum to establish a working group to review governance structures during the lifetime of the current boards of management. In reimagining school leadership, IPPN isn't waiting for the department and the other stakeholders to act. While we work with them to progress all of these projects and recommendations, we have been developing our own response to the leadership challenges that I've outlined. Last November, we launched the Guide to the Leadership of Teaching and Learning. Feedback from school leaders has been phenomenal, and we will build on that work with a new guide on the leadership of inclusion in the new year. The IPPN Roadshow showcased this and other tools to support the development of leadership capacity in schools. Since the Roadshow, we have delivered CPD to school leadership teams on the PIEW, the Capacity Planning Framework, and it's proving to be very impactful in helping schools to maintain their focus on their stated priorities. Another initiative to increase leadership capacity in schools has been our collaboration with the summer programme and our engagement with National Coordinator Ray McInerney, who has done stellar work to grow the programme in the special school sector over the past few years. Thank you, Ray. The summer programme is a really important opportunity for schools to develop capacity for leadership amongst the school staff. The programme itself is a wonderful way to support children with additional needs to enjoy a co-curricular programme of events during what can be a difficult time when the structure of the school day is not available. The experience gained in leading a programme is invaluable, and including it in the leadership portfolio being developed is a perfect way to demonstrate leadership potential and expertise when seeking a formal leadership position in schools. Of course, IPPN continues to engage with stakeholders on a wide range of other leadership and management challenges, including adequate funding for schools, teacher and SNA supply, resourcing of special education needs and special class provision, to name just a few. Our advocacy work on these and other matters continues, and we thank the many school leaders who have supported these efforts through your contributions to position papers, to submissions, your participation in working and advisory groups, by sharing your perspectives in Leadership Plus, and of course, by engaging with IPPN at events and via our dedicated advocacy email address. Our network is made immeasurably stronger by your engagement. Looking to the future, in challenging ourselves to deliver on the ambitious strategic objectives that Katrina will outline tomorrow, IPPN aims to build on that collaboration with our members and the wider education system, to provide an environment in which school leaders can flourish in their roles and can lead vibrant schools, ensuring improved outcomes for the children that we serve. Organisations supporting school leaders around the world are collaborating with IPPN on a research project to explore this concept further. At a European level with the European School Heads Association, ESHA, and at a global level with the International Confederation of Principals, ICP. We will have the opportunity to showcase what is possible when IPPN hosts the ESHA Biennial Conference in November 2027. Ireland's commitment to supporting and empowering school leadership will be shared with both European and worldwide leadership organisations and education systems that will be attending that conference. My predecessor, as CEO of IPPN, Sean Cottrell, once quoted Napoleon when he said that leaders are dealers in hope. But school leaders also need to be given some hope, that their agency will be empowered so that they might better realise the vision, the ambitions and the aspirations that they have for their school communities. Our ask Minister, is that you work with us to help us unleash that agency and its impact in the best interests of the children that we serve. And I'll leave you now with one final thought for the year ahead. John Quincy Adams is credited with saying, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." I'm surrounded here today by leaders who dream, who do, and who become more each and every day. It's my privilege to stand amongst you. Go raibh míle maith agaibh.